Gervonta Davis is looking to have a huge fight towards the end of this year, and it looks as though his opponent is none other than Keith Thurman. Calvin Ford has hinted that something very big is coming for boxing fans, and he's hoping that they seal the deal sometime soon. Calvin stated, "Right now, something big is coming. I can tell you that. It's quiet for a reason. They're trying to seal the deal. It's gonna make the world turn." Originally, Gervonta Davis wasn't too interested in fighting Keith Thurman, and he thought that his time was over in the limelight. Gervonta stated, "Keith Thurman, we know who Keith Thurman is. He's a guy that says many things, but he doesn't do anything. He says all this stuff. When was the last time he fought? Manny Pacquiao? When was that? Come on, bro. As far as boxing-wise, he's getting old at boxing. Come on, bro. You've got to be active somewhere, and he's not even worth mentioning anymore. There's a new generation of boxers, and I have to worry about people that are coming up now. I'm like, I gotta put him on my list that I gotta watch out for. Nobody is worried about Keith Thurman. Come on, bro, your time has passed." Even Showtime president Steven Espinoza wasn't interested in making the fight due to the weight difference. Steven stated, "Thurman is a good-sized 147-pounder. Just from a height and length standpoint, that fight, Gervonta versus Keith, doesn't make sense. It's intriguing to think about, but realistically, nah. It's one of those divisions where you're talking about 135, which is primarily what we're thinking about. It's really splintered, so it's tough to make the big fights. No one place has all the components." Keith Thurman couldn't give Gervonta enough praise for the way he fights, though.
You look at Tank. Come on, man. You can't bring a knife to a gunfight. You can't bring a 22 when I got a shotgun, okay? But his name ain't Shotgun, people, okay? His name's not even Rocket Launcher, okay? It's a tank. Who can fight a tank? Okay? I'm not saying that the man's unbeatable, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying you gotta, just in the title, just put yourself in their shoes. Because when Tank is setting up, when Tank, once he fires, it's, boy, they rock you. They rock you, they shock you, and that's what a Tank's all about. And I love it, you know.
Sean Porter and his crew definitely believe that Gervonta is bigger than the belts, and that's what makes the fights with him.
Tank is bigger than the belts, and I say this he's one of, there's not a lot of guys in the boxing that is. He's one of those guys that's bigger than the belts. The belts need him, he don't need the belts.
Mm-hmm.
While Gervonta might have thought that Keith's time was up, Keith felt as though he just needed the tuner fight against Mario Barrios, and he was going to be ready for bigger and better things. Keith stated, "The fans know what Keith Thurman is all about. They know what Keith Thurman represents, and they know that I'm always trying to bring some of the most exciting fights into the welterweight division. Regardless of whether it's Spence, Crawford, Ugas, or whoever is out there, they know after February 5th, as long as they see the Keith Thurman that's always excited them, we'll be moving on to bigger and better and more exciting fights. You've seen Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford go toe-to-toe with words. They're world-class fighters. They're not just going to start throwing punches at each other for no reason. But if they can get a contract, they'd be more than happy to put the gloves on, oblige, be gentlemen, and go mano-a-mano with one another. I love both fights. I can't take both fights at the same time, but I'd love to see both fights in the near future." When Mario Barrios was asked about which fighter brought more power to the ring, he mentioned that he's tired of answering the question, but he made his decision very clear. Mario stated, "I hate being asked that question, but I get asked all the time. Every time people ask me, I tell them that it doesn't feel good getting cracked by anybody at that level. I will say there was only one fight where I touched the canvas, so it's sort of self-explanatory." More recently, Mario went into greater detail as to why Gervonta's hits feel as hard as they do. Mario stated, "Davis can crack. They always say the most dangerous punches are the ones you don't see, and I think that's one of Tank's biggest advantages. He hits you with shots that you don't even see coming. I think that's one of the things that makes him so dangerous. He was so quick in closing the distance and the range, so it was hard to see the punches coming, and that's what made them so dangerous. A lot of other fighters think that they have to go through Mario before they can reach the top, but Mario doesn't like being called the gatekeeper of his division.
There's a number of people who would love to see Keith Thurman in boots, Ennis, those type of guys. But you told me before we started, you got a message for these younger, up-and-coming fighters at 147. What's that message?
Man, Keith one-time Thurman is not the gatekeeper, okay? And if you want to act like I'm a gatekeeper, then you need to understand that that gate is welded shut, boy. And I will school you just like I schooled Mario Barrios. I'm not those past opponents. I'm a veteran. I'm a fine wine. You can only get me at certain high-level restaurants, baby. This is not McDonald's, but you can still have it your way. If I see a contract, I'll sign the dotted line.
I love it. You must have had a Red Bull before we did this.
When it comes to Keith's motivation, he's mentioned Gervonta by name for one of his motivations to end people in the ring. Keith stated, "The one thing, there was a time I heard people commenting, is Thurman a gatekeeper? I never met a gatekeeper that had one loss in the sport of boxing. I stopped knocking people out. I started putting on the whole show, but we're going to get back on those critical blows. Matter of fact, my motivation for dropping people is Tank Davis. Tank Davis showed me that why ever give up when you have that one punch power? Why ever give up on the exclamation point? Just do it. Throughout my career, I was always labeled as a puncher. At a certain time, especially if you get to the 12-round level, if you want to stay at the top, you can't be exposed later on in the fight. Okay, he's dangerous for 6, 7, 8 rounds. Rolly Romero doesn't think that Gervonta hits that hard, and he sees the problem being the fact that he dehydrates his opponents.
Dude, Tank doesn't punch that hard. Tank really doesn't punch that hard. It's just he lands a clean shot, and a lot of us are either too small or completely dehydrated.
Gervonta Davis is so sure of his own skills that he doesn't think anyone is better than him, and he doesn't think that any of them are about to step in the ring and beat him. Gervonta stated, "The only person that could beat me is Gervonta Davis. Those others cannot touch me at all. They've all been in the ring with me, and I've cracked them both. Devin Haney is no 50-50 fight. How are you going to keep me off him when he's got no power? I sparred him twice. The first time, his father took him out the ring. I almost knocked him out in Floyd's gym. Did they tell you that?" Leonard Ellerby has assured fans that Gervonta will be facing some of the biggest names in boxing that everyone has been hoping he'd face. Leonard stated, "Tank will fight anybody he wants to fight because he's that big, and it doesn't have to be a belt. I can say that because he's that guy. I know firsthand, and this is from his mouth. He's going to get the guys that the fans say that they want. He's going to get those guys. It's just a matter of time because Tank Davis isn't going anywhere. He's looking to do what he got to do. Timeline-wise, everything isn't going to happen according to everyone else's plan because that's how the business goes. I know firsthand that if the fans say they want that guy, he's going to get that guy. He's going to dictate the terms of how that goes along. Some of those fights aren't ready at the moment, and I think you can guess why." Leonard Ellerby has always thought that Gervonta Davis would be able to knock Keith Thurman out, though. Leonard tweeted, "Tank is not a 47-pounder, and Keith can fight his He's a guy I got a lot of respect for, but that fight I'd make in 2 seconds. Tank would knock him the out right now. Trust me, if he's serious, which I highly doubt, that's an easy phone call." Gervonta Davis continuously hints that he's got big things coming, and he's got someone in his sights. Other sources claim that there are rumors going around that the two are set to fight later in December this year. Sources stated, Gervonta Davis versus Keith Thurman, catchweight bout 145, is set on December 9th in Las Vegas. #Davis Thurman. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.